outside in the field of art. That kind of centered my work. It's a story that is found in the Upanishad of Shveta, who goes out looking in search of knowledge. And he studies for 12 years all the books of knowledge and all the subjects. And when he comes back home, his father asks him, do you have that knowledge? Knowing which everything can be known. And so his father tells him to bring a glass of water with salt and tells him to mix it well. And the next day, asks him, can you tell the salt and the water apart? And he says, no, it's diluted, I can't. And he asks him to taste it. And yes, the water is salty. He then asks him to bring the seed of a banyan tree and asks him to cut it. And there's a smaller seed inside. And cut it again. And within that seed, he asks him, what is there?
There was nothing. Joined calligraphy classes, all the energies into getting the correct form of the Chinese character. And people who had tried, who had managed to achieve this to some extent, were now trying to go behind the form, reach the meaning, and with the understanding of it, try to do the brush strokes. I remember walking in and being caught by this. And thinking about things within, and then recognizing my limitations, one of which is self-expression, and pushing that, trying to work on it, which for me was the sound aspect.
I realized that most of it had to do with the human body. So right away I chose calm, sincerity, and strength. I looked at these words, okay, what can I do with these words? Great, but how do I work with them? So I gave each of them an element, a shape, and a color. For calm, I chose water, I chose square, and I chose blue. For sincerity, I chose a column, I chose fire, and I chose reds going into yellows. For strength I wasn't quite sure about. I chose earth. Looked at progress could be steps, could be rhythms, could be a lot of things. So I chose steps. I chose a clear shape, squares, so it's not too confusing. So I made a few big yellow squares, and I worked with body over it. Then one day, I had made quite a lot of these yellow squares. I decided to try something different. And I placed on a big piece of paper, a few squares, thinking of my progress from black to blue, from black and white to color. I placed them in certain places and I asked myself, what do I need to plan these steps of progress? And the word came, aspiration.
I was still a bit tired, and the three girls approached me. I'm dreaming. So then I went about trying to find, well, a shape, which I found was the most difficult. What is a shape that represents both of them? And I started with spirals. Why does spiral present time? Well, there's many ways that, well, not many, but three ways that I mainly see time as in material matter. It's an arrow going from one point to a never-ending or a finite point. Otherwise, it's a circle as a cyclic movement. Why spiral for dream? Or, well, I see it that a dream, it begins, well, when you go to sleep, or when it begins by your center. And you unfold into the unknown, into what is out there, which is not bound by time or space, and everything is confused and mixed up. And I tried basically to create this atmosphere in my work. And
to language, there, in the silence, beyond words, you will find something essential. What is that? Being known, everywhere.
can be known.
What is that? Knowing which everything can be known.
What is that? Knowing which everything can be known.
What is that? Knowing which everything can be known. What is that? Knowing which everything can be known.
What is that? Knowing which everything can be known.
What is that? Knowing which everything can be known.
What is that? Knowing which everything can be known.
What is that?
Knowing which
Everything.
can be known.
What is that? Knowing which
Everything
can be known. What is that? Knowing which everything can be known. Sarvam idam